Throughout history, wealth has created empires, destroyed economies, and rewritten the rules of power, but no fortune ever shocked the world like the one you are about to hear. This is the story of Mansa Musa, the richest man who ever lived. In the early 14th century, while Europe struggled with plagues, wars, and famine, a powerful empire was rising in West Africa, an empire so wealthy that its ruler would accidentally collapse entire economies simply by traveling. That ruler was Mansa Musa. Mansa Musa was the emperor of the Mali Empire, one of the largest and richest empires the world had ever seen. Stretching across modern-day Mali, Senegal, Guinea, Niger, and parts of Nigeria, a land overflowing with gold, salt, and strategic trade routes that connected Africa to North Africa, the Middle East, and Europe. At the time, Mali controlled more than half of the world's known gold supply. Gold extracted from deep mines, traded across deserts, and taxed by the state. Gold that flowed through its cities, its markets, and directly into the hands of its emperor. Mansa Musa did not simply inherit wealth. He controlled the system that produced it, trade, taxation, and supply, making his power absolute. Unlike many kings, his fortune was not hidden in vaults. It moved, it circulated. It followed him wherever he went, and nowhere was this more visible than during the journey that made him legendary, his pilgrimage to Mecca. In 1324, Mansa Musa began his Hajj, a religious journey required of Muslims. But what should have been a spiritual obligation became the most extravagant display of wealth in human history. His caravan crossed the Sahara like a moving city. Tens of thousands of soldiers, servants, officials, and slaves, all dressed in fine fabrics, all carrying gold, accompanied by camels loaded with gold dust, each animal transporting hundreds of pounds of pure wealth. As the caravan advanced, word spread ahead of him. Cities prepared, markets adjusted, rulers waited, because wherever Mansa Musa arrived, money flooded the streets. Every city he passed, Cairo, Medina, Mecca, was transformed by his presence, not through conquest, but through generosity on a scale the world had never seen. Mansa Musa gave gold freely to the poor, to merchants, to scholars, to rulers, building mosques, funding schools, and rewarding hospitality, believing that generosity was a reflection of divine favor. But the volume of gold was too great. In Cairo alone, historians estimate that Mansa Musa distributed so much gold that its value collapsed, prices soared, inflation spread, and the local economy suffered for more than a decade. Merchants who accepted gold lost fortunes, savings were destroyed, and markets struggled to recover, all caused by a single man spending money. It remains the only known moment in history where one individual triggered continental scale inflation, simply by giving wealth away. Ironically, Mansa Musa later tried to fix the damage, borrowing gold back at high interest, attempting to remove it from circulation, an early lesson in monetary policy, centuries before modern economics. Yet, gold was only one part of his power. Mansa Musa understood that true wealth was not just possession, but legacy, and he used his fortune strategically, investing in knowledge, religion, and infrastructure. On his return from Mecca, he brought back architects, scholars, judges, and artists from across the Islamic world, determined to transform his empire into a center of culture and learning. He commissioned the construction of mosques, libraries, and universities, most famously in the city of Timbuktu. Timbuktu was not a legend. It was a thriving intellectual capital, where mathematics, law, astronomy, and philosophy were studied, where thousands of manuscripts were written, copied, and preserved centuries before Europe's Renaissance. Under Mansa Musa, Mali was not only rich, it was respected, feared, and admired, a global power connected to the wider world. So immense was his reputation that European map makers began drawing him on maps. Seated on a golden throne, holding a massive nugget of gold, symbolizing Africa as a land of unimaginable wealth. For the first time, Europe truly noticed Africa, not as an unknown frontier, but as a financial superpower. But like many empires built on immense wealth, Mali's golden age did not last forever. After Mansa Musa's death, the empire struggled to maintain unity. Internal conflicts grew, trade routes shifted, corruption spread, and external pressures mounted. Gold alone could not preserve power, and slowly Mali declined, its wealth scattered, its influence reduced, its greatness fading into history. Yet, Mansa Musa's legacy endured. When modern historians and economists try to estimate his fortune, they reach numbers so large they lose meaning. Hundreds of billions, even trillions, adjusted for today's value. But his true wealth was never just gold. It was influence, vision, and the ability to change the course of history without raising an army. Mansa Musa proved that money, when concentrated in a single individual, can bend markets, reshape empires, and leave economic scars that last centuries. And even today, when we speak of billionaires, central banks, and global economies, we are still living in a world shaped by the same forces he unleashed. Because power does not always arrive with armies, sometimes it arrives quietly, carried across the desert, wrapped in gold, changing the world one transaction at a time.